Thank you. So good afternoon, sir, and thank you so much for joining us here. What I'd like to basically kick off as a starting point of the discussion was to really look at digital transformation in the context of how NIC looks at it. And you've been spearheading that for a lot of departments, specifically transport in particular. Would love to hear from you on some of the initiatives that you're doing, which are not just solving the problem in terms of the data, but also benefiting citizens as you look at driving this at citizen scale.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you all in the audience. As you know, that NIC has been instrumental in spearheading a lot. Yeah, NIC has been instrumental in spearheading a lot of automation and also bringing in ICT technology in the entire government. And various sectors, almost all sectors of the governance is covered by the various projects or initiatives of NIC. And there are various applications, various services for every ministry, every state government organizations, right to the district level. NIC is providing these services at different levels. For instance, I have particularly worked in the last few years in the transport sector. And in this sector, there has been a lot of changes which have happened. There is a lot of transformational changes, I would say. All the state governments, central government, they have all contributed immensely in the last few years to put the whole system into a into transformative mode. Because earlier it was only meant for providing a general service to the government and service to the citizen. Citizen would have to come to the RTOs, get the service. There would be a lot of hassles that citizen faced. And in general, the experience of the citizen used to be a little bit negative. But now in the last few years, there has been the government is now spearheading the task of giving putting the citizen into the focus. And now everything is citizen oriented. And the ease of doing business, ease of providing services, these are taking the main motto, becoming the more and more important for the government and policy making, operational level, everything. And NIC is providing the technological support in the whole aspect. For instance, the faceless services, for instance, which has taken by storm in the last 2 years. Based on the technology and tools like Aadhaar authentication, other eKYC, and other things like faceless authentication, there has been a lot of changes. And now the faceless services have been provided, for instance, by the Delhi government has initiated this in the last 2 years. And it has made a storm in the entire sector. Now every state is competing with one another to provide faceless services to the citizen. And in the last 2 years, there has been around 70 citizen-centric services in the transport sector itself, which have been made faceless. That is, citizen need not go to the RTOs. Citizen can avail the services sitting at the comfort of their home. Or if the citizen doesn't have the internet facility or computing facility at their home, they can go to the nearest service center, citizen service center, or even the online kiosk also. They can avail the services from there. And also there has been use of these technologies. There has been business process re-engineering. All together have transformed this system in such a way that citizen has benefited tremendously. And for instance, the learning license, for instance. Now earlier they had to go to the RTO, appear in the test, apply for this, and there would be a number of days which would be wasted for the citizen to go to the RTO or visit the remote places. Maybe it is not one visit, it may be multiple visits. Now everything has changed. Rules have changed, the business requirements have changed, technology has changed, and now the citizen can do it everything from the home itself. And there is a proper system also in place that citizen's face is authenticated through a AI-based system, and the photograph and the person and the image which is appearing from the mobile or the laptop, these images are being matched, and the citizen is authenticated. Whether the citizen is doing any untowardly movement here or there, whether there is another person who has come to the frame, everything is checked by the system. There is AI-based proctoring, and every moment it is checking on the system. And if the system, person appearing in the test is fair, then he gets a fair treatment, and immediately after the test, he gets the learner license downloadable. No need of going to any place. Immediately it is available. So this is the type of transformation which has happened in the last few years. And it has transformed like in vehicle related services or permit related services for say transporters paying online taxes when a vehicle moves from one state to the another. So everything has now become very easy for the citizen, for the transporters, for other stakeholders. So these have been the major changes.
No, this is very encouraging. It's very, very encouraging to hear that you're moving that into a faceless delivery as far as citizens are concerned, and the fact that one doesn't need to crowd up in front of the RTO to just get a driving license. It's now available online with provided you meet all the necessary criteria. Very encouraging to see that. Now, as you work on these type of initiatives, you are obviously handling a lot of data, and that data is rich in terms of the insights that it can provide. So what are some of the work that you're doing around using the data through analytics, through AI, through IoT to drive meaningful insight that can be used further from that?
Yeah, so technology is now gradually taking more and more center stage, and there is a lot of additional use of the data which is being collected. As you know, the citizen-centric services, they are basically data-driven. So every time someone applies for any service, so whether it's a new license or it's a new permit or change of address in a system, so everything requires the data to be captured and collated. So now this data is a huge asset, as you know. The data is now becoming the new gold for the future. But this can become gold only if it is properly analyzed and if it is properly presented to the appropriate recipient in a proper manner, keeping privacy and other regulatory requirements in place. So towards that, the AI and other advanced technologies are playing a big role. So huge data that is being collected. For instance, in transport sector, we have developed a data lake. So all data which is coming from different sources, whether it's driving license related thing, vehicle related thing, permit related thing, or even pollution certificates which is coming, or maybe insurance, everything. The data is being collected in one place. So if there is a challan which is generated anywhere, so that data is also coming. For instance, now there is if a challan is generated by a camera, then photography is captured, a video is captured for around 5 to 10 seconds. So there is a video analytics capability which is also being built. And these data, these are being put into a system where the further analytics is being done. So the analytics is providing various insights into the system. So whether this system can be improved further, where there is a system which can be, for instance, accident data. So we have got one project which is called IRAD, Integrated Road Accident Database, which has been a major work which has been done in the last 1.5 years. So collecting the accident data from all the sites or sites of the accident, including a lot of parameters, including the images and videos and other, the actual data is being collected, geolocation, time, everything. So data is authentic, data is being analyzed, and this data is being used for the purpose of further analysis whether this accident, nowadays the general attribute of an accident is that the driver was running fast. But it is the primary reason, but there are many secondary reasons also. So maybe the other reasons which are contributing to the accident may need to be analyzed. Whether the road design was correct, whether there was anything which can be improved about the road or the lighting condition, or for a certain weather condition, whether some additional improvements or traffic regulatory measures can be implemented. So all these things come after analytics. So these things are being incorporated. Now the IoT, this is another thing. Already, as I mentioned, that IoT is being extensively used for various purposes. For instance, like vehicle location tracking. This is one area where the vehicles are fitted with GPS devices. So a vehicle, when it moves across the road, it can be constantly tracked. Of course, now the regulation is only for the public service vehicles, that is the vehicle like bus, taxis, etc., where the citizen is traveling, and the main focus is on the safety of the women It was created by the government of India, the Nirvaya scheme. So it is mainly for the citizen of, for the benefit and safety of women and children. That these vehicles can be tracked. There is a provision of emergency alert. So any person in distress can just push that alert button, and immediately an alert will go to the centralized control room. It will be further given to all the different agencies like National Emergency Response System. It will go to the police, concerned authorities, even the vehicle owner, and other related stakeholders. So this is a complete system is coming into place. So these vehicles are fitted by the iOS devices. This is not only the safety aspect, but it can be used for other things like whether there is a deviation of the vehicle in terms of permit rule, or whether the vehicle has overspeed. So if everything can be detected by the system. Various uses, for instance, like in fertilizer sector, whether the food grain which is coming from a go down is going to the particular location of delivery center, or whether it has deviated, whether the mining truck which has come from a mining location and is going to the designated area, or it has deviated to some other area. Everything can be detected through these systems. So these are the technology areas which are being, it's a big intervention is made in the transport sector and related sectors.
Very interesting use cases that you shared, that it's about not only picking the data, but also using the data and leveraging the data to look at what further improvements can be done. Not just focusing on the driver alone, but on what are the aspects that actually causes that accident apart from fatigue. Is it road conditions? Is it weather? And what can we do better? Or making sure that the data of insurance is straight away pulling into your system when you are basically looking at the entire pattern. Now, when you end up with data like this, you also end up working with different departments, right? Who sometimes have to have the access to the data or sharing the data, which means interoperability of the data becomes the most important aspect, because the data needs to talk to each other. So what are some of the things that you're doing as best practices that actually helps in smooth interoperability of these different data points that are coming, that completes the whole story for you?
Interoperability of the data is very important, because now the different departments, they are coming into a collaborative mode. So data which is coming for one particular sector may have various uses in various other sectors also. So as Mr. Venkatesh just now mentioned, that insurance data, for instance. So if an insurance policy is being issued for any vehicle, that should be immediately be available with the transport department with Vahan system, so that when a person is coming for any service, it should be checked online whether the insurance has been issued or not, or whether there is a forgery is there. For similarly, say a GST linked service. Say a e-way bill has been generated for a vehicle, for a consignment which is going from, say, a factory to another state, another destination. Whether they have properly or correctly given the information, whether they have really given the correct picture of the vehicle which is carrying, or it is a fraudulent consignment. It can be checked from our system, Vahan system, because the Vahan data is going to the e-way bill or GSTN through API. Now this interoperability is possible because there is a concept of open API. And the open API means that the data can be shared by any department to any other stakeholder department in an open general manner. And there is like various technologies like format, protocol, everything is now coming into play. And these are allowing the data to be shared in a seamless manner. Anyone else can use it, and this has made the services of any department available in a very easy manner. So, and collaboration is happening because of that. Not just government to government, but government to private, government to business. Everywhere, this collaboration of data is happening because of this availability of data. Also, there is a concept of API gateway also. NIC has set up a API gateway called NAPIX, National API Gateway Exchange, which is a gateway through which the data for various stakeholders, for different providers and consumers are being provided through that gateway in a controlled manner, where the data can be properly accounted for. And this is providing a big facility in the exchange of data across different stakeholders.
Excellent. Now I'm going to change tracks a little bit and move to cybersecurity. It's the most spoken about thing in the technology landscape. You're actually working on tons of data. there are citizen data which have PII, type of an implication. What are some of the things that you're doing to really look at cybersecurity and protect citizen data?
As the data is accumulating and the huge amount of application and services are being provided to citizen through the online digitized systems. So now this is the prime attraction of the hackers and other fraudulent and nefarious stakeholders also, or actors from the country or outside the country. So it's very important to secure the data, secure the infrastructure, secure the services, so that citizen can get the services properly. There is no denial of services. There is no leakage of the data. There is no improper use or stopping of the data to be accessed by the right user and not allowing the data to fall into the wrong hand. So these things are being provided in a big way. So cybersecurity is now center stage in the entire thing. Nowadays, the data centers, the cloud infrastructure, not only these systems are being provided with extra layers of security, but even the endpoints. As you know, the earlier antivirus was one simple solution which was provided for the endpoints. But now there are various other technologies which are also coming into play. Particularly in the government sector, the every endpoint like the mobile or the desktop or the laptop, everything needs to be secured because it involves sensitive data. So in many ministries or departments where the data sensitivity is of very high level, there is a provision of making air gap network which is being set up in different departments. Or in various cases, the extra layer of securities that are being put. Of course, this extra layer of securities are providing a little bit of inconvenience to the citizen, but still, since this cybersecurity is of utmost importance, and as you know, the cybersecurity environment is currently very sensitive and very bad because the various elements are lurking around and they are trying to come into the system. As you know, in our NIC data center itself, for almost most of the critical services, there are millions and millions of fraudulent hits are coming every minute. And because of this, these various security mechanisms which are in place, they are not getting through. Maybe once in a billion attacks, one gets through, and that becomes a major thing. But you just think that nowadays, because of this whole requirement, the cybersecurity systems are also getting improved. AI is also coming into play. So it's not just the preventing, but it can predict what type of attack may come. And so that type of prevention and preparation is being put into place.
Excellent. So we've discussed about really looking at huge amounts of data. We're looking at what is it that you do to really digitize that data. There is a fair amount of security and cyber threat that associates itself with this type of data. But when you're looking at this level of data and delivering citizen scale impact, cloud becomes an imperative. And I know NIC has been doing a lot of work in terms of adopting public cloud. Would you like to share what's been the partnership that you've had with cloud companies like Microsoft on really taking this to really deliver a scale at an impact of citizens?
As you know, that NIC had been providing a cloud infrastructure which was called Meghraj. That was for the government sector. So over the last 4 or 5 years, Meghraj has been instrumental in providing a lot of application services, etc., to almost all the sectors of government. But now, because the demand has been too much and it is not possible for the government to provide more and more requirements to be catered to in an efficient manner. So obviously, public-private partnership has become imperative. And to that extent, NIC and MIT and all the government organizations, they are going towards that. NIC in this aspect of the cloud infrastructure provisioning has gone to the private this PPP model, and now Meghraj 2 is based on the PPP model. So there are two modes which are being envisioned. One is that on-prem, that NIC infrastructure, there is NIC current data centers would be provided. On that, the private partners would set up their data center. And second is off-prem. So there will be data centers which would be tapped into, which may be located outside, of course, in India, but outside NIC's premise, but those will be utilized for providing data center in a seamless manner. And so any government organizations can also use. Towards that extent, NIC has partnered now through proper RFP and tendering process. Geo has been selected as the partner. And Geo is using the Microsoft Azure technology at the back end. So this is McDurch 2 is now going to be launched within this next week itself. And this is based on PPP model. And this is just the beginning. Now going forward, there will be huge amount of technology partnership between government and private players. And Microsoft is providing a key role in this area.
Thank you for that, sir, and really excited, to scale the entire initiative together with NIC. As we come to the end of it, I just want to pick your thoughts on advice that you would have for technology companies like ours in terms of how do we start engaging with you more deeply to really deliver the type of impact and the digital initiatives that you are spearheading, and what are some of the things that we need to keep in mind when we engage on this initiative?
As I already mentioned, the government is not in a position to provide everything on its own because the requirements are growing and the technology that is also required to be provided at the cutting edge technology that is mostly available with the private sector. So government needs to collaborate with the private sector, and it is already being done to a large extent. All the ministries are also tying up with the private sector. Technology partners are being engaged for providing various services or setting up various infrastructure. As I mentioned, Megraj is one instance. Apart from that, in the application areas, in the service areas also, the partners are being engaged in a big way to make a collaborative effort. So any service, for instance, in the e-challan area also itself, I'll just again tap into the transport sector and traffic management sector. E-challan is one area where technology intervention is required in a big way, and the emerging technology is required to be set up because as it was mentioned by an earlier speaker, that the departments like police department or transport department, they cannot provide that much of manpower on the streets to make challans or ensure traffic rules. That has to be done by the machines like cameras, NPR cameras, or speed limiting or speed monitoring cameras, or other overspeed or red light violation cameras. Various things are there, and these are AI enabled, by the way. So it can have like any person, whether is wearing a helmet or not, whether a person is wearing seat belt or not, these can be detected. So these technologies can be provided by the private sector, and these are being provided in the smart cities, in the various police departments, or in the various like highways, for instance. Now these technology partners need to collaborate with the government, and the government is actually doing that, creating the framework for collaboration. In the challaning sector, for instance, these technology partners are providing the hardware, providing the solution for capturing the violation data, and setting up IoT devices in various vehicles, as I mentioned, for instance, the vehicle location tracking devices, or in the accident sector also various devices they are providing. And the challaning may be issued by the government. So this is one example of collaboration. For instance, the Aragya Setu, which was done by the government, it was entirely in the PPP sector. So government, NIC and the private sector, they collaborated in a big way at the moment of crisis during the COVID. And within a few days, they came up with the solution, which is actually something of a revolution in the sector, that in 7 days or 10 days, application of this nature can be put up for public use. So in these areas, there is going to be greater collaboration with the department, with the various technology partners. And the technology partners also need to orient their services towards the citizen, because ultimately now the goal of the government and goal of the nation is to provide better citizen services, or better services to the business, to get ease of doing business is a prime focus area and motto also of the government. So towards that, technology partners and government need to collaborate and go forward in a big way.
Thank you so much for sharing your valuable insights on that. On a lighter note, I can tell you that I have been a user of your e-challan, and I didn't feel good when I got the challan, but at least I felt good paying it because as a law-abiding citizen, when you know something is backed by proof, you're wanting to do the right thing, right? So you're right. These problems can't be solved by having a policeman at every nook and corner of the signal system. But simple things like even violating a zebra crossing is now getting caught by cameras, which I don't think one policeman could have done it. So technology is actually able to solve problems that could not have been humanly solved before, and it's very very encouraging to see the focus that the government is having. India as a country is leaning towards using technology to really drive better impact on citizen scale initiatives. And the important thing is the points that you mentioned about collaborating with organizations like NIC in this journey that you have is something that we really look forward to. We feel very privileged to be your cloud partner in the Meghraj 2 initiatives. And the fact that we are aligned completely to the priorities of the government as it relates to having the data reside in India, and also making sure that at no point in time the citizen data is being used for any of the analytics or any of the work that is being done back end. Because that's the most important thing, because citizens are actually parting with their data. You have to ensure that that data is protected and has the highest level, irrespective of the public-private partnership. And we are very, very encouraged to partner with you on that initiative, because that's what Microsoft stands for. Microsoft runs on trust. It's a partnership that we're really looking forward to. Thank you so much for sharing your insights, sir. Thank you.